The Oklahoma City Thunder get a win over the Philadelphia 76ers, sweeping the Sixers in name only as each team had a lengthy injury report, but J. Will drops a triple-double, and the Thunder clinched the division in this game.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Styles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Styles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, we're diving into the Oklahoma City Thunder beating the Philadelphia 76ers and winning the division for this season, and they're almost there to officially clinch the number one overall seed. They would have done that tonight with this win and a Lakers loss, but the Lakers beat Denver, who was resting all of their guys. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Now, this is a game that starts out, like before you can even get into what happened on the court, you're talking about what happened off of it, where the injury report for each side was long, but we understand why the Sixers didn't play their guys. Their sights are back on tanking, trusting the process, and attempting to get the best odds to keep their pick, which is a first-round pick, top six protected, or it's owed to OKC if it finishes 7 through the end of the lottery, of course, because they're not going to be out of the lottery. So, if it lands at 7 or below, then the Thunder will get that pick. If it lands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, the Sixers get it. Commonly enough, with their theme song, "Here They Come, Sixers." But if it doesn't convey this year, it goes to OKC next year, top 4 protected, and the odds of the Sixers being top 4 next year are incredibly slim. So the Thunder are still going to capture that draft pick one way or the other from Philadelphia. But we understand why Philadelphia did not play their guys and why they're not going to play their guys the rest of the year. For Oklahoma City, they did not play SGA due to rest. Alex Caruso was a healthy scratch. He suited up but did not play. It wasn't really required in this game as the Thunder grew a massive lead. And then you had SGA, J-Dub, Kaysen, Hartenstein, Lou all out, Oos all out in this contest. And of course, AJ Mitchell and Topic are out as well. Topic out for the season. AJ Mitchell still creeping up to that reevaluation date here in a couple of weeks at the end of March. And there's a lot of discussion and discourse around this game. But I don't think it's anything more than what they did 2 weeks ago against Portland when they did this same thing of getting rest for Shea. And the other guys were legit dealing with stuff, and they're legit dealing with stuff today. When you really break down the injury report tonight and get away from the shock value of it and the length of it, Shea was resting, and they admitted as such. He's just resting. J-Dub and Lou, we watched them get injured. We saw what happened for J-Dub, Lou, and Oos to get hurt. Lou and Oos happened during a game, as J-Dubs did on Monday whenever he had a hard fall against Denver. So we saw all that before our eyes and know they're legitimately hurt. Kaysen and Ihart were questionable with different injuries. For Hartenstein, it was back soreness. And is it all that far of a stretch to believe that a big fella is dealing with lower back soreness? Obviously, that's believable. So even if you want to say that like they sat Shea, Kaysen, and Ihart, yeah, they're lapping the field in the Western Conference. They need to take advantage of this ability to be fresh. And Mark was asked at practice on Wednesday or Tuesday what the priorities are when it comes to chasing down that top spot in the league. And he mentioned that their priorities are getting into the playoffs healthy, fresh, and confident. And wherever that takes them, it takes them. If it takes them to the top seed overall or just the top seed in the West, they're fine to live with those results as long as they accomplish those goals of being fresh, being healthy, being confident, and learning about themselves throughout these last few games. And so, yeah, they sat guys, and I get that it sucks if you had tickets for this individual game, but every situation doesn't need to turn into pearl clutching and think pieces and just vitriol, truly. The first NBA game I ever went to as a young lad, came up to Oklahoma City to watch Dirk play and my Mavs play against the Hornets. And Dirk had the flu, and he couldn't play hardly at all in that game. He gave it a go, couldn't play. In today's world, he wouldn't have even tried to give it a go. He would have just not played because he had the flu. But like, I went to show up to that game, wanted to see Dirk, didn't get to see Dirk, but you kind of have to live with it. And it was the one game where I was able to go to, but it is what it is. Like, I get the aspect of it, but it's not worth the debates. It's not worth the vitriol on social media about what either side is doing. At the end of the day, this is a business first and foremost, and that's why the Sixers are resting their guys. And at the end of the day, you won't remember this game if the Thunder go win a championship. And the best route for them to go win a championship is focusing on those priorities laid out by Mark on Tuesday. And oh yeah, they've had one of the most grueling schedules since the All-Star break. They've barely been in their home city. They've played every single night. It felt like, and you're seeing it all around the league here in March. We had a whole discussion about it on Locked On NBA Squad show yesterday for our Tuesday episode, where we talked about how the schedule is jam-packed and how many teams are dealing with needing to find ways to rest these guys. And so the Thunder still put out a lineup that was a good lineup. I mean, Chet was still there. Jay Will had a triple-double, and they still lapped the field with Philadelphia and got the win. So I thought that the Thunder handled this perfectly. The ability to have the 2 days off heading into that back-to-back, the 2 days off coming out of that back-to-back, get this day off, voluntarily for Shea, day off on Thursday, and then Friday, I would assume that these guys will be back on Friday against Charlotte. So that's kind of where I'm at on the injuries. And the whole league investigation thing, which happened for that Portland game, I find it a bit ridiculous, frankly. I understand the premise of it, right? And I understand the letter of the law of it, but it's a lot like pulling a team over who's going 5 miles an hour. Now, meanwhile, you're going 5 miles over the speed limit, but you just got passed up by some Yahoo whipping down the highway going 95. And all you're doing is going 85. But it is what it is. So I would have preferred that the league didn't investigate the Thunder, just because I think it's completely idiotic, frankly, especially on a game that they won, and especially for a team who's built up this depth and built up this lead in the standings, and there's no ulterior motive, right? Your ulterior motive of the Thunder sitting guys against Portland, and we can call it sitting guys against Philadelphia. The ulterior motive is making your league a better product when the playoffs roll around and when the most eyeballs are on you, which is far different than what Utah's been doing. And Utah's under investigation. They've already been fined and they've been reprimanded as well. Like Utah and Toronto and these other teams who are tanking, and Philadelphia who are tanking, that's a little bit different of needing a slap on the wrist. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter, because guess what? Just like you won't remember this game if the Thunder win a championship, no matter how you feel about the situation, I don't think that old Mr. Bennett will mind if he gets fined. He hasn't been fined yet. I don't think that the Thunder will get fined. But if he did get fined, I think that they're happy to write that check to put themselves in the best position possible to go try to win the championship. Because you know what is worth a lot more than the $100,000 that the Jazz got fined? All the revenue from playing in the playoffs and having a deep playoff run. So the Thunder are best positioning themselves for doing that. No, yeah, they're winning games still. Like, what is the discussion? What is the topic? What is the debate? This team is good. They remain good. They embody what we supposedly love about sports, which is the next man up mentality and the 1 through 18 depth and building a team and not being overly reliant on one guy. All these rah-rah things that sound good in August, when they're implemented in March, all of a sudden now it's pearl clutching time in Oklahoma City. It's a little bit ridiculous, but the Thunder still got the win, and they did so in convincing fashion. Nobody's going to tell you that this was a great win in terms of who you beat, because you beat the Sixers in name only, and they had a lot of guys who aren't NBA caliber players and won't be in the NBA much longer, sans Quentin Grimes. So I just think that it was good to take care of business, because even that, right, even as you try to diminish this win, and it's right to, it's not anywhere close to one of the most impressive wins. We just saw, not even a hop, skip, and a jump ago, the Nuggets get swept by the Washington Wizards. So anytime you get a win in the league, it is top notch, and it's good to take care of business and accomplish all your goals. You accomplished all your goals in this game. You got to explore and learn about your roster. You got to get a win. You got to get rest. Check, check, check. Coming up, let's talk about this game and Jay Will's triple-double and another divisional title for Oklahoma City. But first, I want to tell you right now, better good friends over at Robinhood. Go check out Robinhood today and find them, because with Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment and receive the 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. It's the privilege of the very privileged that are no longer exclusive with Robinhood Gold. Your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash and non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national average savings average. The perks of the high net worth for any net worth are available to you now with Robinhood Gold. The gold standard is here. Receive the 3% boost on your annual IRA contributions by signing up today at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risks. Rates subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for $5 per month for 1 year from your first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national saving average is an interest rate claim that is based upon data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Also want to tell you right now, better good friends over at Game Time. Go check out Game Time today by downloading the Game Time app and using code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions do apply. There's nothing like watching a basketball game live. The energy of the crowd, especially in the Paycom Center, the sound of the squeaking sneakers on the hardwood, and maybe even a celebrity sighting courtside. You never know what you're going to get when you catch a game in person. Game Time makes getting tickets easier for you. Game Time's new feature, Game Time Picks, filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on the great seats, so you don't have to waste your time scrolling through thousands of little dots on the ticketing map. You can just get the best picks for you at Game Time Picks. It's an easy ticket shopping experience. They have super deals that even highlight the super deals for you. They get you the best bang for your buck, and you have peace of mind with a view from your seats before you buy, so there's no surprise fees either at checkout, and the lowest price is guaranteed. You can book with total confidence with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Again, create your account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app. What time is it? It's game time. We're back on Locked On Thunder podcast and the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here talking about this Thunder win over the 76ers, in which the Thunder once swelled their lead to 41 points in a wire-to-wire win that the Thunder dominate on the glass. They won the rebounding battle 55-41. The Sixers barely were able to cross the century mark, getting 100 points against OKC's 133. The Thunder had 36 assists in this game without either their lead ball handlers, which is very impressive. Both teams had 12 turnovers. And then the key difference, the Thunder shot 52% from the floor, 46% from three, and 75% from the free throw line. Sixers shot 36, 31, 75. OKC runs away with points in the paint, runs away with second chance points, but it's Philadelphia who wins fast break points 21-13. Every member of the Thunder who stepped on the court knocked down a three-pointer for OKC as Adam Flagler delivered the triple-double for Jay Will, who finishes career-high 19 points, career-high 17 rebounds, and 11 assists for his second triple-double of his career, which matches Shai's career number, which matches Kawhi's career number. Some fun with triple-double numbers here for Jay Will. I thought he was really good, and he had 2 assists to boot with 3 for 5 shooting from 3 and 63% from the floor. I'll talk about this game in the same tone and tenor that I talked about this game from Jay Will against Portland. Is he going to have a triple-double night in the playoffs? No. Count me down on the no column for triple-double J Will come playoff time. But are there little intricacies of this game that you can extrapolate into a playoff setting? Count me down as yes on this for J Will. So the first thing right out of the chute was the 3 for 5 shooting from three. He had a 4 for 4 night against Denver. He's had hot shooting nights throughout his career, and he's been overall a much better shooter in the NBA than in college, where he just didn't shoot the ball well at all, and he didn't have a slight number of attempts. It wasn't his role, as he points out post game, but he had enough attempts to figure, hey, this guy's probably not a good shooter. But he came into the NBA with confidence. He came into the NBA developing that part of his game, and the Thunder have let them and let J Will develop that part of his game. So it's worked out for him. Now the next step of that has been the no dip threes, and I asked J Will about this post game, and J Will's post game was awesome. If you like hearing about how the sausage is made in the NBA, we got into a lot of stuff with J Will and his no dip threes and his 3-point progression. You can go find every media availability on YouTube, on the OKC Thunder official YouTube account, and you should go listen to J Will's because it was really good from this game against the Sixers. But with J Will, I asked him about the no dip threes because this is a thing that he's been relying on this season and shooting more of this season. And he did mention that he worked on it throughout the summertime. And the no dip three is whenever the ball gets thrown over to you and you literally just catch and shoot it. You don't bring the ball down. You don't load the shot back up. You just catch it. And the Thunder are so good at finding him in moments like that where you can catch it sort of over your head and just launch the three. I compared it in a cross-sport comparison to like pop time for a catcher, just to boil down to, well, why is this catcher so good at throwing guys out at second? Oh, because he gets out of his stance and gets the ball out of his hands quicker than anybody else because of the pop time. Of course, you can deduce from that the ball will get to the second base faster than any other catcher. Therefore, if the ball gets to second base faster and it beats the runner, you're going to get the runner out. And so you take this in a playoff setting, and if J Will can consistently put together good 3-point shooting games with no dip threes, what happens in the playoffs? Guys are flying out to the corners. They're playing defense on a string. That's the most intense half-court offense and half-court defense that you see all season. The margin for error and the window to get your shot off shrinks. It goes down to a thimble size in the playoffs. And if you can shave off any time in that decision-making, shave off any time in getting your shot off, and limiting how the defense can react and limiting how the defense can contest you, it creates advantages, especially for a Thunder team who's going to have high gravity guys, to where if you are going to send 2-3 at Shea and he kicks it out to J Will and J Will cannot get that shot off in an instant when the ball touches his fingertips, well, you just can't recover to J Will. You just can't do it. And that goes for anybody. Kaysen shot it for you, no dip threes. And it's why I believe this part is speculatory. I believe it's been a focus for the Thunder overall, but it's for sure been a focus for J Will to take these no dip threes because of the advantages it can create you in any setting, but you really hone in on it in a playoff setting for why the no dip threes are important. And J Will, like, that's an example of how this triple-double game, which otherwise gets cast aside as an outlier, can end up meaning something down the road. And then another example would just be his aggressive level, his aggression at the rim on both ends of the floor. You look at the career high rebounds tonight, and look, he was not doing it against the massive front courts around the NBA. This Pistons front court lacked size, so it's more of an even playing field for a small ball center. But it still was impressive to watch him put a body on guys, box out, and be the aggressor to the basketball and translate some of that stuff he does in the high post. And what I mean by that is something that Mark praises about J Will a lot is his catch point and how he'll contest for a catch in the high post when the ball swung to him, and he never loses that battle getting the catch. And I think that he's taken that tools from the outside looking in and applied it to a rebound, to where now you're seeing him go up stronger. You're seeing him attack the glass stronger, attack bodies around the rim stronger, and it's netting him more rebounds this season. And this is a guy who we don't have a small sample size on. I mean, he was a starting center for a play-in team his rookie season. Last year, he was the only big not named Chet on the team. This season, he's been thrusted into a larger role due to injury throughout large chunks of this season. And so you have seen the development and you have seen the progression from J. Will. And these are small things that stack up. And I think about the playoffs, right? And I've been the first to say, I think J. Will is more of an 82-game player than he is a 16-game player. However, you can go into LA where they get a favorable whistle and you have an overzealous moment from Chet trying for a few blocks as Chet tries to contest everything at the rim. You slap a couple fouls on him early. Now you've got to turn to J. Will, and he's got to be ready for that moment to swing back to him. And he's been in that spot before, right? Looking back to that Denver game on ABC, the much anticipated game in the afternoon, where the game, I think, suddenly shifted harshly toward J. Will, even more so by the Chet foul trouble, and he delivers. So in those moments, whenever foul trouble does happen, because I promise you, we can't sit here and say the Thunder will have to go to 7 against Denver and 7 against LA and have a hard road to the playoffs, and then act like that path doesn't include situations where foul trouble arises. And foul trouble is going to find Chet. It's going to find Hartenstein. It's going to find your front court, as it does for every single team. And J. Will, if he can take these situations and these examples in these games and apply that into the biggest moments, it can really help turn a game and turn a series. Because if you turn one game in a 7-game series, you've largely flipped the series in one direction or another. And with J. Will, I think he can do that. And I thought that his aggression level, both putting the ball back into the rim after an offensive rebound, and then also contesting shots at the rim vertically instead of horizontally, if you will, taking charges. Like, he didn't have a block tonight, but the offensive rebound that he let up on the Sixers free throw, and then they reset and drove right back at him, and he just perfectly uses his body positioning and leaps and walls up at the rim, absorbs contact and forces a miss from Philadelphia. That's an athletic play. That's a defensive play that rookie year J. Will wasn't making. And so you take all these moments, and if you really think back in your memory bank of what J. Will was and how far along he's progressed, it's really a big feather in the cap of the Thunder's developmental path and developmental story. And J. Will, again, a night that I think many people will look at and say, well, it's just March basketball. These things happen all the time. The triple-double aspect of it, yes, but there are tangible things that you can push forward into more meaningful moments from him. Let's talk about Chet Holmgren. Let's talk about Isaiah Joe and Wiggins, as well as the Thunder clinching another divisional title, all coming up. But first, I want to tell you right now, better good friends over at Upwork. Go check out Upwork right now, because scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts that are ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web design, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Finding the right talent. If you need help with your marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. Posting a job is free and simple. Within a day, you'll have multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Cost-effective growth for your business as well, which includes hiring full-time. Upwork helps find affordable top-tier freelancers to scale your business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now. Post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect top talent and grow your business today.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here talking Thunder basketball, as we just discussed J. Will's triple-double. Chet Holmgren had 19 points. He had 9 in the blink of an eye as the Thunder started out on a 10-0 run, which was spearheaded by him and Joe. He had 55% shooting from the floor, 50% shooting from three, 5 for 6 at the free throw line. I thought from this game, the aggression of which he attacked the rim, and the force he was offensively. His first play, a rip through in the corner, driving baseline, reverse finish. That stuff is what you wanted to accomplish from this game and see from this game from Chet Holmgren. Because whether he put up 50 points or put up 19 points, ultimately it's much like Jay Will. Like the role he was in was in some ways different, in some ways the same. Doing it against this competition level doesn't necessarily mean a ton, but it's just the nature of, here's a guy who came off of a hip fracture and he is being this aggressive. He is getting downhill in this way. He is playing off the catch this well. And he is getting up shots, at a 2-for-4 clip from three that I thought was really encouraging from Chet Holmgren. Nothing more, nothing less than encouraging from Chet Holmgren in this game, where he got to do a little bit more on the ball offensively, playing off the catch. Shout out to Chet Holmgren. Isaiah Joe, 5 for 9 from three, 21 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. He was on a heater. I mean, a 7-0 run out of the gate was by Joe and Holmgren exclusively. They got it to a 10-0 run, and Nick Nurse calls a timeout, and they could not get the car on the road at all. Again, the Thunder have a wire-to-wire win, and again, they swelled the lead above 40 points. Wiggins had 26, almost got to a 30-point game, but ultimately didn't even play 30 minutes in this one because there was no need to. But I thought that Wiggins, his rim finishing really sticks out. It's an elite trait. The blend of physicality going to the rim, where he's able to do some of the Shea stuff, where he's able to do some of the shoulder bump and free up space at the rim, but also a lot of the finesse and a lot of the touch around the rim. He's consistently been an elite rim finisher, but now you've seen it over a growing sample size and a growing role since the turn of the calendar year, and it's remained efficient. It's remained elite efficiency-wise at the rim. It's something that you want to see from Wiggins. And I thought Kenrich Williams quietly had a really great night. And Wiggins had a night. Wiggins had a night that was really good, but Kenrich Williams, I thought, for his role, executed perfectly. Of this playoff rotation, Mark's not going to be afraid to go 10 deep in the playoffs, as he bucked that society norm a year ago in the playoffs. But there are going to be instances where minutes are hard to come by. And when we're talking about creating advantages, and we're talking about flipping series, and we're talking about how to get that razor thin edge to break your way and win a 7-game series, Kenrich Williams, a guy that if he continues to shoot the ball at this clip, 3 for 4 in this game, career high in threes, right around that career high in threes after this game gets calculated in terms of 3-point percentage. If he can hit those threes, and what he does defensively, he had a block, he had a steal, he's gap helping very well defensively, he's making the hustle plays, he's stealing you possessions, 5 rebounds in this game and an assist. The short spurts of that and that calm steadiness approach to it all could help this team in the future, depending on the situations that they find themselves in. And then Dillon Jones got his first career start. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, his first career start, it looked much of the same to me with Dillon Jones. I think he's slightly better defensively, but he's still worlds away from where he needs to be on that end of the floor. And then offensively, it's just going to be an adjustment period, a growing period. And in that period, I think we try to microwave it of, just treat him like he's a plate of pizza rolls in the microwave. But in reality, these things take time. You got to marinate in this new role where you're shifting from being the guy and being on the ball, and with your unorthodox play style, both size and play styles completely unorthodox from Dillon Jones. You're now taking that and going into a role that you've hardly ever played at a high level, and really any level, because he played off the ball some his first couple of years at college, but his last 2 years he was the man. And you would imagine he was the man in high school as well, to where this is completely new to him, just like it was new to the rest of these guys who have developed, like Ousmane Dieng, who's playing the best NBA basketball of his career. The outlook to me is not bright on Dillon Jones, frankly, of like his long-term hopes of being a highly impactful player. But I think he can get better than this. I think he can get better than what he's shown his rookie season, and you should give him time to do that. He strikes me just on the outside looking in as a guy who, might not play his best basketball of his NBA career in Oklahoma City, but some of the stuff that hasn't translated has been puzzling to me from Dillon Jones. Ultimately, though, you have to acknowledge how tough the adjustment is and how young in his NBA career he still is and how much potential he still has. But defensively, I think that on that side of the ball, he's shown you enough of an improvement and a gradual improvement to believe that, hey, the Blues are a great developmental program. We just raved about what they did for J-Will. Could you season him some more and then turn him into a tool in your toolbox of just this unique size where it's really sturdy, really long, and if he gets there defensively all the way, then you're able to have some success. But it was his first start. I thought it was interesting to put him in that environment and a really good use of these games where you're blending in development, you're blending in winning, you're blending in everything. Because Dillon got to be tested against the starting lineup. And I know that this starting lineup from Philadelphia doesn't strike fear in your eyes, but you have to acknowledge that, you want to get off to a fast start. You don't want to do what the Houston Rockets did, a fully healthy Rockets team that got down a bazillion points to this 76ers squad. You want to get off on the right foot. And when you're one of the first 5 guys on the floor, you're in charge of that tone and the tempo and the pace that game goes, both on the scoreboard and like literally on the court pace. And Dillon, I thought, did a good job of playing his role and not. I thought he did a good job of just playing his role of not trying to overextend, and that's really tough. I think. I mean, he can tell you more than I can, but I think as a guy who's going from being the man to being this in the NBA and G League, it's really tough to rein it in, especially on nights like this. And he's done a really good job with that, with the G League and with the NBA, of understanding that, like, for example, in the G League, because I go to all the G League games, I watch the G League, and most people don't bother to cover the G League. But in the G League, Dillon Jones could drop 30 a night. He just could. I mean, we watched the prospect film. He could drop 30 a night in the G League. What does that really serve, though? Because no offense to Dillon Jones, he's not going to be a 30-point per night guy in the NBA. So his approach to it all, I think, is the bright spot of his first year. And no, I mean, you wish your bright spot was something flashier and sexier than your approach, but I think that's commendable. His approach to being willing to, even in the G League, have that reservation, have that awareness, not to just try to do your own thing out there or just go fill up on points and empty calorie stats, but instead work on what's actually going to make you successful in the NBA. Has been something to note for Dillon this season, and he got his first career start, which is a cool moment. I mean, the circumstances be damned. Anytime you get a career start in the NBA, it's a really cool moment. The other G League guys, Dukas, Carlson, Flagler, I thought all had moments. Carlson more than most, 16 points, and he still is a block machine at both levels. But 3 for 7 from 3 really sticks out. And Flagler delivered J-Will's second ever triple-double. So shout out to Adam Flagler for that. And it's good to see Dukas back on the floor as he's dealt with some injuries this season at the G League level. So he's able to get on the floor in this game. Ultimately, that's all I got. We probably shouldn't have gone over the time limit on this game, so I apologize to Nick Angstead. But nonetheless, we delivered you another pod. We'll have another one tomorrow, and we'll have another one after the Charlotte Hornets contest. Until then, be good and be good to one another.